Hello, everyone. Welcome to Advanced Political Science, Episode 1. My name's Chris. I'm going to be your Advanced Political Science teacher for the next little while. I got a beautiful gem of a little theory here today for you. It's Zelops Diamond. Um, a friend of mine in the field passed this on down to me, and I thought I would share it with you guys because it's got some really interesting stuff to it. So, just to start off here, we're gonna notice that we got right here. Oh, that's the rest of it. We got right here. Oh, sorry. We got right here a triangle. All right, and triangle is one of the it's like founded in geometry. The theory is based in geometry. So triangle is the strongest shape. And you can't push over a triangle if you tried, right? Because it's got the two things and then the thing. And if you look at it, it's like it's upside down here, but you would understand if it was the right way up. But anyway, so if we think about a triangle, we think that it adds up to 180 degrees, a half circle. So what we have in the foundation of this theory is a half circle, not full circle. So we're not coming around. No full circle, no realization, nothing. It's just a half circle. We don't make it all the way around. In the first part, we have if we look in the first corner, we have war. War says he is always composed. An alpha male never loses composure. He is always himself, thoughtful and calculated. He won't be carried away in emotional spasms. If we think about that, we really think that alpha males really are like, if we think about the structure of society based on Christian texts, the dominance of Christian or religious texts placing the male figure above all, this makes sense. So we have the father, the God or whatever, whoever it may be, domination and muscles. Now, this is acting upon democracy. All right, so it's the force above democracy, in a sense, but they're all acting upon each other. We have democracy, and here we see that democracy is like, it's something that is required for Here it says needing it more because it is than it is not, but not worrying as to why it won't be when it can't be not. And if you really think about that, it's sort of a self-referential self-referential to the idea of democracy, in the fact that you vote so you get the chance to vote, right? You vote so that you can vote again, right? You're not really voting for something. You vote because you can vote again next time. And for here we have the mother, and the voting, the staple of that. And then pay it forward is a little something that I guess got added into this political theory. It's a movie. You guys could check it out. Now, these are divided by the Great Divide, as you can see, within, without. And I think I'd want to touch on this very briefly, is that these act sort of within each other, but the bottom one doesn't act on these two as much. It acts outwards from itself, and the others act inwards within themselves. And so if we look at Stonerism, so Stonerism is the absolute representation of the youth, and this is sort of defined by the ubiquity of weed and Four Loko, if we think about it that way. And it sort of just, it really just parallels this idea that you just need to be always absolutely fucked. Like, you need to be always high as shit and just fucking so fucking high that it gets you right past that point where it's just like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, and that's sort of what Stonerism, and acts towards war in the sense that, is the directly opposite, there's a dichotomy there, but I won't get too far into that. And this is only because it is called Zelops Diamond, we have the base triangle here. It's a triangular diamond, I guess. There is another dimension that we're going to be looking at here. So here's the XZ axis, and this one's looking a little bit confusing, but as you can tell right here, we have our triangle laying flat, and it has war on this side, democracy on that side, and stonerism right there in the middle on the x-axis, I presume. And now we have sort of on the z-axis forces acting outwards, and what we see at the top here is what we see acting outwards from stonerism is sort of a spiral. So I guess it starts here with the birth, the psychedelic paramount, and this is sort of just the idea that your birth acts immediately outwards upon everything in its surroundings, right? And it acts downward force, and it acts through stonerism outwards to democracy and war. So it is from that point to where you reach stonerism, it is an absolute reaction to all of your surroundings, pressing everything outwards. And as you can see, downward spiral. I think that if you are getting dizzy at this point, you should gaze out upon the horizon. It will settle your mind, and you will find yourself grazing in the green pastures of peace and prosperity. So really, if you think about it, if we think about this, the downward spiral is that sort of idea that you're losing yourself, but then there's a mirror on the stonerism where you've reached that point, that little edge, and you'd like to stay at that edge, but you can flip it, right? And then all of a sudden you're acting downward spiral, but then we reach, through realization, we reach the psychedelic undoing, which is sort of the idea of enlightenment. And what we get here is that it brings everything all back into one. Stonerism, war, democracy, all back into one. And what we have here is the hypothetical infinite force versus the immovable object. And it is through this same downward force that pushes through stonerism and the downward spiral that the undoing occurs, and it pulls all towards one. Anyway, this has been Chris with Advanced Political Theory. Thanks, guys.